Hey there everyone, Laurel here. It's time for another video for my 25 Days of Christmas videos series. And today we're going to be focusing on the inside of the card. Pop-ups are huge right now, and I'm going to be creating this poinsettia in the inside of my card using the poinsettia pop-up die from the 10 stamps. These dies can be cut to create the petals as well as the leaves, and she's given you some of the centers as well as a trio of leaves to create a beautiful poinsettia. Now, with pop-up dies that you're using on the inside of your card, you want to use thin paper, thin cardstock. I didn't have any, so I wanted to show you an option. This is some regular printer paper, and I just sprayed it with some red and gold Altenew metallic inks, and I can create beautiful poinsettias that I can put through the mail in the future. But for today, I want to use these alcohol ink background panels that I had made a long time ago. Alcohol ink background panels are made on Yupo paper. It's a thinner paper, not as thin as copy paper. So take that into consideration if you're planning on mailing your pop-up cards. You really should invest in some thin weight cardstock. So these dies, I went ahead and ran them all through all the dies. And the leaves have little score lines, so I folded them down the middle. And they're also little tabs. So you can see the tabs right there in the center. It almost forms an arrow. Maybe it's supposed to be an arrow. I don't know. I should have done my homework, but I'm winging this card here. And then I'm using some double-sided score tape. I tried it with liquid glue, and it just didn't work. With pop-up cards, you really need to use some dry, strong adhesive. So when you put it in place, it stays in place. So I'm centering that poinsettia right down the scored line, and then I'm folding my card, and I'm going to do this every time. With each layer I put down, I'm going to fold my card over and kind of press it down with a bone folder just to make sure everything is in place. Now I'm going to go in with the second panel. So again, I'm going to fold it in half, and then I will fold each of those leaves in half. There are little score lines. It's hard to see. And that's going to give your poinsettia like some dimension and texture. This is a Yupo panel, alcohol ink panel I created with Gilding Flakes. So this one is especially pretty because it has that touch of gold in it. So gold from the Gilding Flakes and texture from the Gilding Flakes. So again, I'm using that double-sided tape. There's a little tab on the bottom that you just kind of glue in place because you want to keep your poinsettia, however you say it, intact. And then now listen, I'm sure Effie has a video on how to do this. I really am, and I should have watched it. So I don't know if you have to line those arrows up every time or whatnot, but I didn't do it. I didn't watch her video first. So if this doesn't turn out, it's her fault. No, I'm kidding. So here I am, I don't know, adhering it down. However, it looks good to me. I wanted those flowers, to overlap and be pretty, so that's what I'm rolling with. But if you want to see the official way on how to do these poinsettia pop-ups, then you need to head over to Effie's video tutorial that I'm sure she has up on the 10 Stamps YouTube. So here's the trio of leaves here, or petals, whatever floats your boat. I'm going to kind of put that in the center of the flower because I need to start covering up that gap there, that white gap there. I don't want that on the inside of my poinsettia. So I've gone ahead and added the red. Now I'm going back in with the blue, and each time I'm putting the score tape on the back of those tabs. I'm not going to show you that every time because you would get bored to tears. And again, each time I am folding my card panel down. So I'm making sure now I need to kind of overlap these just a little bit because, again, I need to make sure the center is almost covered up before I put that center piece down. The little, what do you call the center of the flower or the poinsettia? I don't know what it's called. I should have looked that up too. I'm just a hot mess right now. I'm in poinsettia heaven. So there's the center of the flower. I'd adhere that down. And now, like I do with my flower arrangements, I'm kind of finicking with it and making sure all my petals are nice and creased. And I think this is just cool. So look how that pops up. Look at the shine from that alcohol ink, the texture from the Gilding Flakes. And I decorated the front and back of the card by adhering some patterned paper. I got the white cardstock a little dirty, so I covered that up with some pretty patterned paper. I stamped a sentiment and adhered another little die cut I had left over, a little panel from one of the poinsettias. And yeah, pop up babies. That's what I'm talking about. How pretty is that? So thanks for joining me for another video here in my 25 Days of Christmas video series, and I will be back tomorrow with my next video. I've also created a playlist you can check out here where I'm putting all the videos daily as they publish into this playlist so you can find them all in one spot. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.